Ford Falcon Sprint 289. Born from the second-generation Falcon introduced for 1964, the Sprint package turned Ford's sensible compact into a bona fide mini muscle car, with a square-shouldered body, bucket seats, and a sportier suspension. But it was overshadowed almost immediately by the wildly successful Mustang, and was dropped after the '65 model year. For 1965, the Sprint's party trick was its new standard engine, the 289 Challenger V8, essentially the same small block used in bigger Fords and Mustangs, with a two-barrel carb, around 9.3-to-1 compression, and a rating of about 200 horsepower and 282 torque. Underneath, the Sprint rode on a 109.5-inch wheelbase unibody, strengthened with convertible-style floor pans and Fairlane-sourced springs, shocks, and front anti-roll bar, so it handled better than its economy car roots suggested. A hardtop Sprint with the 289 and 4-speed weighed only about 2,800 pounds, giving it a healthy power-to-weight ratio for the mid-60s. Only 2,806 Sprint hardtops and 300 convertibles were built for 1965, so they're much rarer today than equivalent Mustangs. Dodge Dart Charger GT 273. Before the big B-body Charger stole all the posters, Dodge quietly tried the name out on the compact 1965 Dart Charger, a limited-run spin-off of the Dart GT that ended up being the first Dodge to wear the Charger badge. All of them were essentially Dart GT hardtops in pale yellow with black interiors, special Charger emblems, Krager-style mag wheels, and extra trimmy hardware. Although built off the Dart GT, they were marketed simply as Dart Charger rather than GT, which probably explains why the option quietly vanished after 1 year. The star of the show was the Charger 273, Chrysler's high-compression LA small block with a 4-barrel Carter AFB, 10.5-to-1 pistons, and a factory rating of 235 horsepower and about 280 torque, a package shared with the Barracuda Formula S and other A-bodies. Drop that into a roughly 3,000-pound A-body with a 111-inch wheelbase, torsion bar front suspension, and leaf springs out back, and you get a compact that's a lot friskier than its sensible styling suggests. Dodge manufactured only 480 units of the Dart Charger GT before the Charger rolled out for the 1966 model year. Rambler Marlin 327. Launched in early 1965 as a Halo model, the Rambler Marlin was a two-door fastback hardtop based on the midsize Rambler Classic, marketed as a personal luxury car, and even billed as one of AMC's sensible spectaculars. Its dramatic fastback roofline, running in a long teardrop sweep to the rear, bumper, grew out of the 1964 Tarpon show car and definitely stood out in traffic. Standard power was a 232.6, but the fun button was the optional 327 AMC V8 with a 4-barrel carb, rated at 270 horsepower and about 359 torque. A period Hot Rod magazine test of a 327 Marlin with the Flash-O-Matic automatic turned the quarter mile in about 17.4 seconds at 79 miles per hour. Not GTO quick, but perfectly respectable for a plush fastback with room for real adults in the back. AMC sold 10,327 Marlins in that shortened first model year, helped by heavy national advertising that pitched it as a sportier alternative to Mustang and Barracuda for buyers who still wanted comfort and space. Plymouth Sport Fury 426 Street Wedge. In 1965, the Fury line moved back onto a proper full-size C-body chassis, with the Sport Fury as the top-dog version, complete with bucket seats, console, and enough trim to impress the country club. And it even served as the official Indy 500 pace car. Underneath the very square suit was the good stuff, the optional Commando 426 Street Wedge, rated at 365 horsepower and a massive 470 torque, with about 10.3-to-1 compression. This engine was the civilized street cousin of the brutal Max Wedge drag motors and sat just below the coming 426 Hemi in the Mopar food chain, making the Sport Fury a key missing link between early factory superstockers and the later Hemi B-bodies. When Motor Trend tested a Sport Fury 426 with TorqueFlight, They recorded 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds, the quarter mile in 16.1 at 86 miles per hour, and a top speed over 120 miles per hour. Serious pace for a full-size mid-60s family car, even if fuel consumption in spirited use dipped into the 8 to 9 miles per gallon range. Chrysler 300L. The 65 300L was the grand finale of Chrysler's famous letter cars. Built for just one model year and limited to 2,845 cars, it was the 11th and final Letter Series 300. Like all 1965 Chryslers, the 300L wore Elwood Engel's new square-shouldered styling, with crisp slab sides. Underneath, it rode on Chrysler's full-size unibody C platform with torsion bar front suspension and rear leaf springs, giving this big coupe surprisingly tidy road manners for something over 4,200 pounds. Under the hood, Chrysler dropped the wild 390 horsepower cross-ram option and standardized one Sirius engine, the 413 Golden Lion Wedge V8, rated at 360 horsepower and about 470 torque. In a period motor trend test, a TorqueFlite 300L hustled from 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds and ran the quarter mile in 17.3 at 82 miles per hour. Inside, you got bucket seats, console, and all the power toys you'd expect in an early 60s status symbol, with most of the hardware shared with the regular 300. The letter car mainly added exclusive trim and 300L badges to remind the neighbors you'd bought the top dog. Chevy Biscayne 396 L78. In 1965, the Biscayne L78 was the classic definition of a blue-collar sleeper. Chevy's cheapest full-size body with its nastiest new big block stuffed under the hood. The Biscayne itself had been the bargain basement full-size Chevy since 1958, built mostly for fleets and thrifty buyers, with minimal trim, plain interiors, and a lower price than Bel Air or Impala. For 1965, the whole full-size line was redesigned on a new perimeter frame with full coil spring suspension and wider jet-smooth stance, so even the humble Biscayne benefited from better ride and handling than earlier X-frame cars. Mid-year, Chevrolet introduced the Mark IV 396 Turbojet V8, and the top dog was the L78. 11-to-1 compression, a big solid lifter cam, Holley 4-barrel, and an official rating of 425 horsepower and 415 pound-feet. That engine could be ordered in full-size Impala, Bel Air, and Biscayne, but only 1,838 full-size L78 cars were built in 1965. A Biscayne two-door sedan with a big block, close-ratio 4-speed and standard 3.31 rear gear weighed only around 3,800 pounds thanks to its bare-bones trim, making it lighter than a similarly equipped Impala and perfect sleeper material. Pontiac 2+2 421HO. Still based on the full-size Catalina, the 2+2 option turned Pontiac's big B-body into a sportier, wide-track coupe or convertible with unique trim and badging. The 2+2 package added bucket seats, flashy 2+2 scripts, heavy-duty springs and shocks, dual exhausts, and most importantly, a 421 V8 as standard equipment, so your comfy cruiser suddenly qualified as a genuine muscle boat. Buyers who ticked the 421HO Tri-Power box got the wildest version. 3 2-barrel carburetors, a hotter cam, and 10.75-to-1 compression, officially rated at 376 horsepower and 461 torque. Serious numbers for a car weighing over 4,100 pounds as tested. A 4-speed 2+2 421HO recorded 0 to 60 in about 7.4 seconds and the quarter mile in 15.8 seconds, quick enough that big Pontiacs were suddenly lining up next to mid-size muscle at the strip. Pontiac built about 11,500 2+2s in 1965, but only a fraction carried the extra-cost HO Tri-Power option.